Well, it feels like we have the official news. What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video on this Super Bowl Sunday. Just a couple hours ago, came on and said that it feels like a decision could be made this week. And according to Jay Glazer, a couple hours later, a decision's already been made. So Jay Glazer is reporting that the New York Jets are moving on from Aaron Rodgers, that he flew out to meet with the team this week, and they told him that they are moving on. This isn't the end of the world, and I think there's been a huge overreaction from a lot of people online, and I think there's a lot of factors that play into this decision. Like, for instance, we have no idea if Aaron Rodgers wanted to come back and learn a new offense and let Tanner Engstrand be the one, running the show offensively. Maybe he wanted to come back and continue to run the offense how he was running the offense. Maybe, it was just like, hey, we think we can get similar kind of production going somewhere else. And like, again, I just don't think this is a huge deal. I was open to the idea of the Jets bringing Rodgers back if he was okay with taking a pay cut, more willing to let Tanner Engstrand run the show and him just be a part of the 53-man roster here. But we don't know. Maybe that wasn't a reality in this situation. And, I'm not all that surprised by this decision. I think, people online today are reacting as if this is some sort of shock that they're moving on from Aaron Rodgers. I just frankly don't see it that way. This was something that I thought was eventually going to come down the line, that it would come to this. Granted, we know for all last week, no matter what show he went on, Thomas Dimitrov, who interviewed for the GM job for the Jets, was saying that he advocated for moving on from Aaron Rodgers, and his feeling was that most of the Jets, or most of the people who interviewed for the position, likely felt the same way. Now, we don't know that. Maybe that's the case, but again, like, it just goes to show you, like, I don't think this is some way out of left field. I can't believe that this happened. I think the way that a portion of the Jet fans view Aaron Rodgers is very different how the rest of the NFL views Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career. Looking at the numbers, the passing yards and touchdowns last year for him were very good. But looking at the full context of his numbers, he was probably somewhere around the 20th best quarterback in the league, plus or minus a few spots depending on the week. He's 41 years old. They were a 5-win team last year that averaged under 20 points per game. Again, I don't know what the disconnect here is, and you maybe make the case that they won't be able to look at the guys available in free agency, and this is not a good draft to find a quarterback. Are they going to be able to find someone who could come in and be the 20th best quarterback? Maybe not, but I don't think that there's a world where it's impossible for them to maybe take a little bit of a hit going to a Tyrod or Jameis Winston or Justin Fields. But if the defense improves this upcoming year, I don't think it's so crazy to think that the Jets can win more than 5 games, what they did a year ago. A new regime coming in, a new GM and a new head coach wanting to start over and move on from a veteran quarterback who at his best is maybe playing one more year in the league isn't all that shocking. Like I said, they could view it as a possibility to get similar, not the same, but similar kind of production for significantly cheaper and without the massive cap hit, which we'll get to in a second, and target someone in 2026 to be the franchise guy. I think best case scenario, and this is, again, maybe it's a little coping, but best case scenario is you have a season similar to the Buffalo Bills in 2017 when Tyrod Taylor was their quarterback. They make the playoffs in the first year of Sean McDermott. They trade up in 2018 for their quarterback and now have had a sustained success since then. And that's what Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn mentioned, sustained success. They're not just focused on 2025. They're focused on 2025 and beyond. And like, this reaction that the Jets just threw out there, any chance to win a Super Bowl in 2025 is crazy to me. I don't think even with Aaron Rodgers here, they were a realistic shot to be a Super Bowl contender in a very strong AFC, in a strong conference. I think maybe best case scenario, they're a fringe playoff team, and that's even with Aaron Rodgers. And he would likely only be here for 1 year. Again, I don't think it's this massively huge disappointing thing for Aaron Glenn and company, and enough for me to turn on Aaron Glenn 2 weeks into him getting the job after, everyone was pumped up that he was here a couple weeks ago with his speeches. And now because he wants to move on from the 41-year-old quarterback of a 5-win team, we're doubting him. Like, trust the process, give it a little bit more time. Again, if I had to guess right now, I think it's probably most likely that Tyrod Taylor ends up being the opening day starter. Now, other names to watch: Justin Fields, Jameis Winston in the equation. I think Justin Fields is probably going to end up being priced out of the Jets' range, but maybe not. I think it's totally realistic to see, Tyrod, Jameis, and Jordan Travis as the 3 quarterbacks in the room. Again, I'm a little surprised by the reaction. Maybe that's on me. Should have expected this from Jet fans, but I just don't think it's really that huge of a deal. So Jay Glazer mentioned post June 1 cut for Aaron Rodgers. If that's the case, here's a look at the numbers. He will be $14 million in 2025 and then $35 million in 2026. Now, you could just completely move on and eat the $49 million in year 1 if that's something that they wanted to do. Maybe that's what they do. We saw Darren Muji when he was in Denver, not that he was the one making the decision, but he's the assistant GM. They were able to field a very successful team after moving on from Russell Wilson. And they had a lot of dead money, and they were able to get themselves into a playoff game this year, a surprise season. With this news likely means that Devontae Adams is gone. Ian Rappaport kind of already reported this, and this is not breaking news. This is, again, something that was expected. So wide receiver is going to be a need for the Jets, in addition to finding a new quarterback. I look at 2025 as a year of transition for the Jets. They're going to try to establish what their identity is and find that identity. Maybe they don't have a winning season in 2025. I'm not saying you're tanking and going to be a 3-win team. That's not my expectation. I think there's honestly a pretty good chance that they win more games than they did a year ago. They were a 5-12 team in 2024. I think you could maybe even be better than that. Maybe they finished with 7 wins this year, which isn't great. No one's throwing a parade over a 7-win team, but they have some work to do. They're going to come in and try to establish what their identity is going to be. And then 2026, looking at that as the year where they really take that step forward. Again, it sucks when you're in a really long playoff drought. I get it. Fans are tired. I'm tired of them being in a really long playoff drought. I just don't know what people were expecting on this and why this comes as some major shock. It's going to be okay. Give it time. Let's just relax a little bit, because look around the league. I don't know if 30 teams are going to be lining up to sign Aaron Rodgers after he's cut. Again, I just think that a portion of the Jets fan base views Aaron Rodgers completely different than the rest of the NFL. And who knows? Maybe we'll see something different if and when he officially does get released. But I'm going to reiterate, I don't think this is the end of the world. I think they have a chance to be okay. It might just take a little bit of time. Guys, let me know your reaction in the comments. I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new, and I will catch you next time.